There's something you keep bumping into, isn't there? It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just a quiet feeling that no matter what you try, no matter how hard you work on yourself, how many books you read, how many mornings you start fresh, something keeps pulling you back to the same place. The same relationships that leave you feeling unseen. The same self-doubt that shows up right when something good is about to happen. The same invisible ceiling you hit every single time. And the frustrating part? You're not lazy. You're not broken. You've been trying. You've been trying so hard. So stay with me today. Walk through this with me. Because I think what's been stopping you isn't something that needs to be pushed harder against. I think it's something that needs to be finally, gently, seen. What I want to talk about today is shadow work. And before your mind goes somewhere scary, I want you to take a slow breath in through your nose, hold it for just a second, and let it out through your mouth. Because this is not about dredging up pain for no reason. This is about understanding the parts of yourself you were taught to hide. And those hidden parts? They've been quietly steering the ship. The idea of the shadow comes from a psychologist named Carl Jung. He believed that every one of us carries a shadow, not something evil, not something shameful, but the collection of all the feelings, needs, desires, and beliefs that we learned weren't okay to have. The parts of us that got tucked away when we were little because we needed to be loved, accepted, safe. Maybe you were told that anger wasn't ladylike. So you buried it. Maybe you were told you were too sensitive. So you learned to go numb. Maybe someone important to you left, and somewhere deep down, you decided that people always leave, and you've been unconsciously making that true ever since. That's what Jungian shadow work is really about. Not darkness. Not demons. Just the you that learned to disappear so the rest of you could survive. And here's the thing about those buried parts, they don't stay buried. They come out sideways. They come out as anxiety that has no clear source. As the need to control everything because somewhere inside you, you never felt safe enough to rest. As the way you shrink yourself in relationships. As the strange guilt you feel when something good happens to you. As the pattern you can't seem to break no matter how much you understand it in your head. The hidden trauma patterns that shape our lives aren't always from one big dramatic event. Sometimes they're from 1,000 small moments. A parent who was emotionally unavailable. A teacher who humiliated you once in front of the class. A friendship that ended without explanation when you were 12. Moments that seemed small at the time but left a mark on how you see yourself and what you believe you deserve. Shadow work for beginners isn't about tearing yourself open. It's about picking up a journal, finding a quiet moment, and asking yourself some honest questions with the same compassion you'd offer your very best friend. So let me give you some of those questions. These are the shadow work journal prompts I want you to start with. Take them slowly. You don't have to do all of them at once. Even one, explored deeply, can shift something in you. The first prompt is this: what emotion am I least comfortable feeling, and where did I learn it wasn't safe to feel it? Sit with that. Really sit with it. Because the emotion you avoid the most is usually the one that holds the most information about you. If it's anger, who in your early life made anger dangerous? If it's sadness, were you ever told to stop crying, to be strong, to hold it together? If it's joy, is there a part of you that braces for things to go wrong the moment they feel good? Take a slow breath right now. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. The second prompt: what did I need as a child that I never fully received, and am I still looking for that from the wrong places? This is one of the most powerful inner child healing prompts you will ever work with. Because so many of us are walking around with a little girl inside who needed more reassurance, more consistency, more love that didn't come with conditions, and we've been trying to find that in adult relationships, in achievements, in approval from people who don't even know us well. When you can identify the original need, you can start to meet it yourself. You can become the loving presence for yourself that you always needed. The third prompt: what do I judge harshly in other people, and is there any version of that thing living inside me too? This one is uncomfortable. I know. But Carl Jung was very clear that what we cannot stand in others is almost always something we've exiled in ourselves. If you find yourself deeply irritated by people who are needy, have you been telling yourself that your own needs don't matter? If you judge people who are loud or take up space, have you been making yourself smaller for a very long time? Your shadow often lives in your strongest reactions. Fourth prompt, and this is a tender one: what do I believe I have to be or do in order to be loved? Maybe you believe you have to be useful. Always the helper, never the one who asks for help. Maybe you believe you have to be calm, never difficult, never too much. Maybe you believe you have to succeed, to earn your place, to prove something constantly. These are the trauma patterns that quietly shape everything: our relationships, our choices, our sense of self. And they almost always were formed before you were old enough to question them. Let's pause here for just a moment. If anything I've said has touched something in you, if something has stirred, that's not a bad sign. That's your system recognizing something true. Take a breath. You're safe. Nothing has to be fixed tonight. You're just beginning to see. Fifth prompt: where in my life am I repeating a pattern I don't want to repeat, and what might that pattern be protecting me from? Patterns aren't random. Every pattern we repeat, even the painful ones, made sense at some point. It was a strategy. It kept you safe once. The question in shadow work isn't just what are you doing, it's what did you need to survive that made this feel necessary. When you find compassion for the origin of the pattern, it starts to lose its grip. And sixth, what would I do, say, or become if I truly believed I was allowed to? Because so much of what we think we want but can't seem to reach isn't blocked by the outside world. It's blocked by an inner permission we never gave ourselves. What have you been waiting for someone else to tell you it's okay to want? These shadow work journal prompts aren't just writing exercises. They are invitations for the parts of you that have been waiting in the dark to finally step into the light and be held by the one person who was always supposed to hold them, you. Now I want to bring you to a moment. A real moment of release. Because if you've been sitting here and feeling some of this, if you've recognized yourself in these patterns, in these questions, in these old wounds, I want you to know that you have been carrying something heavy for a very long time. And you've been carrying it largely alone, and largely in silence, because somewhere along the way you were taught that this was just how it is. That you just had to push through. That these feelings were weakness. They were never weakness. They were the evidence of a heart that kept trying. And right now, I want you to let go of something specific. I want you to let go of the idea that you should have figured this out sooner. Let it fall. Right now. Let it fall. You didn't have the tools. You didn't have the language. You didn't have someone sitting with you, guiding you, telling you it was safe to look. You were surviving with what you had, and you did. You're here. That is not a small thing. I also want you to let go of the fear that what's in your shadow is too dark, too broken, too much. It isn't. What's in your shadow is mostly just hurt. Hurt that learned to hide. And hurt, when it is witnessed with kindness, does not destroy you. It finally gets to rest. And let go of the belief that your past is running your future without your consent. You just changed that the moment you started asking these questions. The moment you chose to look instead of avoid. The moment you decided you were worth understanding, not fixing, not overhauling, but truly, gently understanding. That choice was everything. And you made it today. Take one more deep breath with me. All the way in. Feel your chest rise. Hold it for just a moment at the top. And slowly, slowly let it go. You are not the patterns. You are the one noticing the patterns. And that is where the real healing begins. Before you close out of this video, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to answer in the comments below. Which one of these journal prompts landed the hardest for you today? Which one made you catch your breath, or want to skip past it, or stare at the ceiling for a second? Tell me. Because the prompt you want to avoid the most is almost always your most important starting point, and sharing it here, even just naming it, is its own act of courage. You are not alone in this work. This community, our community, is full of women who are right here with you, asking the same brave questions, doing the same tender work. Stay with us. You belong here. If this video reached something real in you today, please share it with someone who might need it. You never know who in your life is quietly carrying the same things and hasn't found the words yet. One share could be the thing that helps them begin. And if you want to go deeper, come find us at dealerofhappiness.org. There's a free healing journal waiting for you there, and a community where you will always be met with kindness. If this is your first time here, I would love for you to subscribe. New videos go up every week, and every single one is made for you, for the nights when it's hard, for the mornings when you're trying again, for all the in-between moments when you just need someone to remind you that you are worth the work. You are. I promise you, you are.